All right, that's uh, good. Okay, go ahead.
Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. The unsurpassed, deep, profound, subtle, wonderful Dharma, in 100,000 million eons is difficult to encounter. Now that I have come to receive and hold it within my sight and hearing, I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual meaning.
Okay. Mhm. Mhm. No, so basically, the this chapter here we learn about to recognize our evil, and we repentant, right? You know repentant, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. There are a few methods that we can do. How to do the repent. The whole idea is to destroy our bad karma. Mm. Mm. So we can purify those evil deeds. Um, before that, I have a question here. Um, do you think that when we pray a bad karma, right? um, even though that we born into the good place, let's say heaven, right? Mm. So what do you think about the bad karma we committed? How
Oh,
do we?
it's like maybe a seed in the ground that at some point will sprout and bear fruit.
Hmm. What about if we reborn into the Buddha land? Then we be able to erase all those things.
Well, I think the erasure of them happens with the completion of the karma without it then being continued through a new action. So, and through
Let's
working,
say reborn into the Pure Land, Buddha, Amitabha Pure Land. What do you mean?
well, I think through working with the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, in this case, the Pure Land, that the return of the karma is managed in a very compassionate way. That's the sense I get, that, if we're working with a Buddha who sees all of our karma and understands, when which karma will ripen, then the way that we can be guided and protected in that process, it'll be much more advantageous to experience our karma in that setting than, to not have that sort of assistance.
Can we purify our evil deed inside Arya continent if we in the Buddha land?
Um, so it is, I mean, it's talked about how in the deep meditative states of emptiness, or of seeing the true nature, that this sort of the karmic misdeeds are, like the seeds are purified. The seeds to repeat those behaviors are purified, but the behaviors that are already done, I think the consequence can be mitigated based on our choices. Like the example of the Buddha when he got a headache, and it was this day that all of his clansmen were killed. The Buddha's experienced that karma differently than his clansmen because of the choices he'd made after having created that karma. That all he had was a headache, where when they were actually like
Yeah,
killed.
because he the one who knocked on the big fish head, right? Is that the story you related?
Yeah, isn't that's the story where they catch the two fish and they hang them up in front of the village? That was the story that explains why the Shakyas and that other group were always fighting back and forth.
So let's say we pray a lot of bad karma. Yes, even though we reborn into the Pure Land, we be able to purify it. But mean it we are the bad card seek, right? We be able to purify it. Because just like when you are the farming, right? The farming is really rich with the good soil, right? Even though the bad seed you grow into it, it become very healthy, right? It's the same thing that yes, when we reborn into Pure Land, yeah, we can be able to purify our bad seed. For example, but when I say bad seed, that means it's not yet it's the one we not yet very karma, but we have bad seed like jealousy, right? Selfish, greed, hatred, ignorant, all those things we call because it's not yet produce the bad karma. Those things we can purify. Does it make sense? What about the cause we already pray? It already rooted into it. Can we be able to uproot or purify somehow?
Uh, the sense I get from that is we can affect our condition. So the karma, like our past actions, have already set up a future cause.
Mm-hmm.
Like that future cause will return, but it depends upon our condition. So like if we know someone is going to be throwing us a baseball, then we could put on a baseball glove and we could catch it. So
Mm-hmm.
if, say someone develops the 6 transcendental powers and they know what's going to happen to them, then they can the consequence of their returning karma is going to be minimized, not completely eliminated, because like even Madhgalyayana, he knew that he had that karma returning and that he was going to be, beaten to death. And he couldn't do anything to prevent it, but he did have the mind state that was the greatest protection. So he couldn't prevent the actual phenomena from occurring, but how he experienced it, that he achieved a transcendence.
Mm. So yeah, the law of cause and effect, we have three components. It means that the cause, the condition, and the effect, right? So the cause is already done, right? But right now we reborn into the Pure Land, and the condition is when we while we still in the Pure Land, we practice and we always all the time we listen to the Buddha teaching from the tree, the sound of the tree, and all this type whatever the sound from the Pure Land, it's always speaking the Dharma, right? And also we have um, every day in the Pure Land, we be able to travel throughout the 10 direction world system to make an offering to the Buddha, right? That is where the Amitabha Sutra said. So those things we call the good condition, right? With the good condition, we be able to help the bad cause turn into the good as a effect. Why is that? For example, later on, let's say that one of the bodhisattva have a vow that after he stayed there for a while, right? He said that I would like to go down to return to the Saha world. That means where we live, and to practice the bodhisattva. Um, to repay the kindness and compassion of the Buddha, right? So and the Bodhisattva want to perfect his practice at more quickly when he practiced in this evil world. Does it make sense? He think that he be able to do it. That I think he attend the state of non-returner. That means no more retreat. Does it make sense? right?
Yes, that makes sense. Sorry, my daughter is asking me a bunch of
Okay, okay.
question here.
And also, he attended the 7th degree of the, the the patient. That means patient of no patient. That means it's that means whenever, doesn't matter what kind of the debt collector do to them with all kind of harm, they will not their anger never arise because all the bad seed they already purified, right? Instead of anger, they always have love and kindness, right? So instead of greed, they always have the mind of giving. Instead of uh, jealousy, they have a mind of encouragement, right? So those things that mean the debt collector, even though when they come down here, right, the debt collector will see them because they do have the common affinity. That means the connection in the past. They the common affinity in the past will draw them together with us, and that's how they be able to um to uh, to, to fight back, right? And at that moment, even though they try all kind of things, but the Bodhisattva will not have any anger because no anger can arise from the mind of non-retreat, right? Or the patient of non-arising of anger. Um, yes, whatever the collector do to them, they just like the route, right? Just like the earth. Whatever you roll into it, the earth never complains. Do you think the earth complain when you would roll the good thing or the bad thing? Do they complain?
No.
No, they never complain. So the mind of the Bodhisattva is just like the earth. And that's why whatever the debt collector do to them, they always take at ease, no problem. And they be able to pay for that debt, and also due to the negative karmic affinity that Bodhisattva have with them, that help the Bodhisattva to rescue them, to transform them. And that's how, so any kind of negative karmic affinity is a good chance for the Bodhisattva to practice. The good situation for the Bodhisattva, for the Bodhicitta to grow. Yeah. So yes. So what does that mean is, yes, whatever we pray in the past, good or bad, it's always there. No matter where you were born. But the difference between the difference is, if we be born into the Pure Land, now we come out with the mind of Bodhisattva, and we can handle it. Just like when we do the lifting, right? The weight lifting. At the beginning, we can lift only 40 pounds. Now you can lift a few 100 pounds, no problem. But I can only lift 30 pounds. Okay, so basically that means to make sure and this is the big difference between Buddhism and non-Buddhism. Yeah. Because one of my student, that means the children, right? They learn with me. They ask me a few very interesting questions. One of them is asked, let's say that in the past, right? Someone killed me in the past. Now in this life, I kill him back. Is that equal?
Well, then not for the person who was just killed. They're gonna,
Mhm.
it's in flux still. It's like an oscillation
Yeah.
between,
In
two.
Buddhism, there no such thing called ego or cancellation.
Mhm.
As long as the mind of hatred is still there, then the cycle will keep going.
Mhm.
Mm. Well, anyway, I am okay. Let's move on. All right, let's do this. Did we read this thing?
Stated for the main absolute development. I think we did begin to, yeah, we discussed this concept. I'm not sure if we read that exact part yet.
Okay, maybe we do one more time. Doesn't hold.
Okay, yeah. How to destroy obstacles and purify evil. As stated before, the main obstacle to developing bodhicitta is our accumulation of negative energy or non-virtue. If we want to develop beneficial states of mind such as bodhicitta, we must purify this non-virtue and replace it with virtuous or meritorious energy. This dual process of accumulating merit and cleansing ourselves of non-virtue or evil is accomplished by performing the following preliminary practices and confession. One is the preliminary limbs of practice. Two, the confession of non-virtue.
Hmm.
And then the preliminary limbs of practice have three parts: offerings, prostration, going for refuge.
Okay, let's see. So, hmm. So what do we see from here?
I mean, this makes a lot of sense. So in developing bodhicitta, we can start with first clearing away those things that are clearly not bodhicitta, so non-virtuous ways of being. So looking at what are the choices that we are regularly making that we know are not good. They're not good for us. They're not good for the people around us. What are we dwelling in negativity in some way that makes a situation even worse? So any of these non-virtuous actions, looking to uproot those, and then also developing the virtuous actions. So, considering, contemplating thoughts of compassion, looking at situations through the lens of bodhicitta, contemplating situations through the lens of all the Buddhist teachings.
Hmm. Okay. All right, let's go into yeah, you can do the offering.
The first preliminary limb of practice consists of making offerings. Shantideva's discussion of this practice has two parts: the necessity of making offerings and recognizing the objects of offering, the actual offering. In the second chapter, Shantideva is taking the part of someone who wishes to purify himself of accumulated non-virtue. He realizes the necessity of following the preliminary practices and declares it openly as follows: in order to seize that precious mind, I offer now to the Tathagatas, to the sacred Dharma, the stainless jewel, and to the sons of the Buddha, the oceans of excellence. To maintain and complete the precious bodhicitta, the source of happiness for all universal beings, I will now make offerings to the objects of devotion, all the Tathagatas who have gone to thatness, the Buddhas, the jewel of holy Dharma, and those sons of Buddha, the Bodhisattvas, such as useful Manjughosha, Avalokiteshvara, and others, who possess oceans of excellence.
Okay, good. So what do we learn from the offering here?
Yeah, so this part, the offerings divided into the necessity of offerings and recognizing the objects of offerings, and then also the offerings themselves. So this part is on the necessities of making offerings and recognizing the objects of offerings. And it's the mind state of reverence, of acknowledging the Buddha as the ideal. Then we're aligning ourselves with all of the qualities of the Buddha, all of the Dharma of the Buddha. By honoring the Buddha, like we're aligning with that. And then we're also, aligning with the community of other people like ourselves who see the Buddha as the ultimate ideal, because of the wisdom that embraces all species, that wisdom that's gone beyond, but still acts, compassionately. So that, that mind state is important for making offerings, not because the Buddha needs our offerings. I mean, obviously the community of monks and nuns, like that, they do need offerings to be sustained. But the Buddha doesn't need them. It's about our own practice and aligning our mind appropriately.
Mm.
And this is one, my rational mind, I don't feel as drawn to like get fruits and get flowers and water and other foods and put it on my altar,
Mm. Mm.
because it feels
Mhm.
arbitrary. It feels like, okay, I'm putting this fruit up here, and eventually I'm going to take it off and eat this fruit. It seems sort of like it's a mental exercise that I would rather practice the spirit of, like a meaningful offering. And then periodically I come across verses in the text where they're saying like, the highest offerings, right? The highest offerings are compassionate actions. Studying the sutras and upholding the sutras are offerings as well. But that, I periodically wonder, like, should I maintain a serious regular practice of offering actual objects?
Actually, yes, we well, if we you just said that the offering proof and put on the altar. Should we do that, right? Is that what you say?
Well, I'm not saying for others in general, but I was just kind of thinking of myself and that, sharing how, like, how it occurs to me when I'm doing it. Yeah, like, yeah, is it a practice I should be taking on?
Actually, we need both. You need to okay, when we offer fruit and water and here and there, and also you need to practice the Dharma. That's how you make your actual offer. The reason why you need to offer proof, incense, and you know why?
I think it's to condition the mind because, clearly, like, well, maybe in some transcendental, profound ways, the Buddha can make usage of the offerings. But here, like in my own house, like if I go to the temple and I offer it to the temple, well, then the fruit will be given to someone, the incense will be burned, some like. But here, if I offer it, it's like, well, it kind of, I already have the thing, and I've offered the thing, like placed it on the altar, but it seems like a bit of a mental exercise where I could just place everything I have on the altar, like mentally, emotionally, like offer everything in my possession.
You mean
Um,
contemplate at an offer, is that what you said?
well, because like if I say I take an orange and I place the orange on the altar,
Mm,
at some point I have to take that orange back off of the altar.
yeah.
Right? And either I eat it or Samaya eats it or
Mm.
Lisa eats it. So in a way, it's kind of like it's the same as if I contemplated, say, everything I had. And I visualized, okay, offering all of those things to the Buddha. because in the same way that even I offer up the orange, the Buddha can't, or maybe can't's the wrong word, but doesn't come down and take the orange and make use of it to help living beings. It's like it's very much about my mind. So I wonder about like the form of how important is the form of taking something like that, like fruit or water, and putting it up there as opposed to being mindful of like offering all that I have. Like that so that I try to live a life where I'm more using my resources towards um my practice of the way.
Um, the offering the proof here and there, that is just the symbolic. But the symbolic is also important. It means that that's how we can be able to physically express our um, gratitude to the Buddha and to the Buddha teaching physically. And yes, you can also do the practice, the Dharma. But the Dharma practice is another way of offering. So you can do both. And the good thing is when we look at the Buddha status, right, it helps us to remind us. And when we present the water and fruit there, it means that we use our physical to express the thankful that we receive from the Buddha, I mean, the teaching. And physically, it helps you to be more humble. Usually, if we don't do it, and we think that only the Dharma would be good enough, then easily for us to forget about the physical practice, and it will increase our um, become more arrogant, not humble. That I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, you go to the temple and you see the temple do it, and you say, "I don't have to do it. I can practice the Dharma." And when you have that mindset, it would be a big obstacle of your spiritual practice. Does it make sense? So this is important. And you remember one time, right, when the Buddha went to the second heaven, right, to speak the Dharma to the mom, right, to
Or
the
to his
to the,
mother,
his mother, right,
the to seek to heaven.
yeah, and the king, a lot of king, and also a lot of people on earth waiting for the Buddha, and they don't know where the Buddha gone for 3 months, and 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 they are waiting. So I remember it. Venerable Ananda, he want to put the Bodhi tree or something, an object to represent the Buddha. So for the people to worship. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays we have to worship the starters, yeah, the statutes, right?
Statues.
Statute. Um, the statute is the lay or the iron. It why should we worship that thing? Why should we worship the thing that it's a dead thing, right?
It's a representation of something. So we're not like, worshiping um the material, but rather like what it, I mean, the essence of the material is the Buddha nature ultimately too, the essence of a statue.
No, actually,
Um,
it reminds us. And when we worship like that, it doesn't mean that we blindly believe in those things, but we just want to express our gratitude that we really respect and honor the Buddha physically. This is important. And also due to our sincere. Yes, even though the status is the metal or the layer or the from wood or whatever, but the Buddha can use that object to be able to communicate to us. Does it make sense? To be
Mhm.
able to connect to us, to help us in our practice. That's why sometimes um, I remember in the 10,000 Buddha monastery when I went there in 1997. Every time, every year we have they celebrate they celebrate the Grandmaster what you call it, the Memorial Day,
Okay, Memorial Day to remember the Grand Master.
right? And after the ceremony, you see up into the sky there were the picture of dragon, and sometimes you see the picture of the Bodhisattva. You see, due to an object, people be able to have the sincere mind. Due to the sincere mind, that's how we connect to the real, the to the Buddha and Bodhisattva. Buddha or Bodhisattva come to us due to our sincere mind. And how do we be able to generate the sincere mind? Through that object. You see? That's why it's very important to have the status. So people begin to worship. At the beginning, they don't know much about Buddhism, but whatever in life they struggle, right? They want to find a place to have the peace of mind, right? And when they look at the Buddha, they feel very peaceful. Does it make sense? And that's how they be able to gain the peace of mind. And that is the beginning to help them to step into the Buddhism. Everything is work. As long as, because many people they do not know Buddhism, but when they see the Buddha, and I remember a lot of not well many American right people they uh, they buy the Buddhist statues and they decorate at home, not for the religion, but for the decoration because they see the Buddha is so peaceful. Well, that is a good thing, right? And from there, they be able to gain, and they will be able to help them, encourage them to learn Buddhism by many different means. So yes, we have to have the Buddhist status, and also we make an offer, um, fruit water here and there to make to train our mind, to train ourselves to have the daily routine, and that will at least will help us to somehow it calm our mind. And when you sit down and practice your Dhamma, right, you will see a lot of different things. I mean, peaceful in your mind. Mm. Um, because nowadays we have a very heavy offensive karma. We cannot be able to see the Buddha. And, the only thing we see through the picture and here and there, right? So what can we do? Because we don't have the blessing to see him. Okay, all right. So we and that's why taking this is just like we taking the refuge, yeah, the three refuge, right? The Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. right?
Yes.
Yeah, just like today. 7 people taking the red pill, the 3 red pill. Before that, they know very little about Buddhism. But I have a question here. Let's say that they a person, right? He not Buddhism yet. He did not take 3 red pill yet, right? But he learned Buddhism. He practiced. Is that enough?
Hmm. I mean, it's a start, right? So, a small seed can grow into a giant tree. So, if he starts that way, he may eventually take the 3 refuges.
No, let's say that he said that he doesn't need to take 3 red pill. He can practice the Dharma.
Oh, well, it's part of the practice. So it'd be kind of like, and be like, I don't need to dribble the ball, but I can still play basketball. It's like when you're playing basketball, you have to dribble the ball. And so if
Mm-hmm.
someone wanted to play basketball and just run with the ball in their hands, like you can't play
Yeah,
basketball. So if you're not taking refuge, it's gonna be from an arrogant standpoint.
right,
It's gonna be,
right.
I'm gonna be the one who does this, so that the view isn't right.
Yeah, that is very important because if they think that they can be able to learn and practice without taking prerequisite, that means they do not have full faith into the Triplicate, and they will increase arrogance, and that is the biggest obstacle, and they will easily walk on the wrong path. Okay, they will. Um, and they are the one who do not respect others easily because they think they know a lot more than the monk and the nun or whatever. That is the biggest problem. Instead of they practice for the good thing, but they pray the bad karma at the same time because look down on others. But the different thing is, let's say the person never know Buddhism, but now today, due to whatever the good affinity and condition they have in the past, they just take 3 refuge. And this is the good seed for them to gain the faith into the Triplicate. One day begin with this first step, and that is how they be able to gain the good faith into Buddhism. And the good faith into Buddhism is very important. It's just like the source of our goodness and the source of our wisdom. That makes sense? That means the faith will help us to walk into the ocean of Buddha wisdom. And you remember in the Flower Sutra, and the Lotus Sutra, right? On the second chapter, the Buddha always praising the Buddha wisdom and the Buddha experience mean no other can compare, even the Arhat or the Pasika Buddha, even the Bodhisattva himself. And the Sariputta and all the other monks, right, disciple of the Buddha, they wondering, remember? They wondering, tell that, how come today the Buddha always phrasing his wisdom and all the experiment and they say that, well, when the Buddha spoke the Dharma for the first time, I be able to attend the Arhat. Why the Buddha said um, that we cannot be able to understand him, right? You remember that one? And
Mhm.
And the Buddha said that even the gain sense of the Sariputta or Morgana, right? That at many at gain sense come together using the psychic power or using all the wisdom combined, right? They cannot be able to figure out the Buddha, the Buddha mind. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait for me. My part. Let me look again. Okay. Then um and uh, and the Buddha the Sariputta, he the foremost in wisdom, right? For the Arhat, he 3 times requested the Buddha. The first 2 times he requested the Buddha reject. Request the Buddha what? To speak the Lotus Sutra to everyone. He reject. You know why he reject?
Be out of concern for the arrogant um, members in the assembly. There are monks and nuns who behave with overbearing arrogance, laymen full of self-esteem, laywomen who are lacking in faith. The likes of these number 5,000. They fail to see their own errors, or heedless and remiss in regard to the precepts. So he's concerned that if he preaches the Lotus Sutra, he knows there are people within the audience that won't be able to believe and accept it, and that because they don't believe and accept it, but they reject it, that it'll cause them to fall into the evil paths.
Why they don't believe? Why?
Because they can't fathom that they could become Buddhas. They're,
Actually,
they're
and also yeah, beside that, and also they think that they already attend the enlightened, but they do not. Right? They claim themselves they already enlightened, but they do not. That's what we call. You remember the 7 arrogant, and one of the arrogant said that the one who do not attend the enlightened yet, but they claim themselves they did. That is very evil, right? Um, and the third time the Buddha accept. Usually on the third time, Buddha always accept. To make sure that the one who requests is utmost sincere. That's important. And the Buddha said that to the Sariputta, even though you are the foremost in wisdom, but for you to step into the Lotus Sutra, you still rely on your faith, not on your wisdom. To be able to walk, to step into the Lotus Sutra. Therefore, due to the faith that he has, he be able to learn the Buddha wisdom, Buddha experience throughout this sutra. That's the real benefits, don't you think? And after the Buddha accepted the first 5,000, no, I mean the 5,000 of 4 assembly, right? That means the monks, the nuns, the layman, the laywoman, they left. And the Buddha, the Buddha did not do anything to stop and let them leave because he said that all the bad seed gone. The one still here is all good root, good seed.
Mhm.
So so just like that. So taking free refuge is very important. I one this morning is very special. One of the laymen here, he the one who always support the temple. He the one that lead the group voluntarily to add additional for example, he remodel the kitchen, remodel the no this destroy the old restroom and build a new restroom. And he also ring down the the Buddha hall in the past. It's upstairs on the second story, and he the one who helped to ring down and build on the first floor. He did all that thing and many other things, and also the help out the new we bought a new property, connect with the temple on the back, become the parking, and he helped all the thing as well, and he also helped to build the the house for the Earth Store Bodhisattva, that where we put all the DC. Mhm. So, and you know what? Oh, hold on. Someone ring the bell. Go ahead. So he the one this morning, you know what? He just it's the first time for him to take tree refuge. In the past, usually we thought he already take it in tree refuge already, but he did not. He wait until now. Mm. So interesting, right? So now if we become more complete, the picture more complete. Yeah, that means all the good deed he worked, and with the protection of the Supergeo, he officially become Buddhist, and the benefit he have will be grateful um, in the future. Um, so, and whatever he did silently, never so off, very, very sincere layman. And due to his leader, other people listen to him. And at our temple, we never fundraising, never do that. If they know, they volunteer, they do it. We never call anyone. So, so that's why we have a lot of good thing happen at the temple. But due to the good affinity we have with them in the past. Anyway, so basically, so now let's wrap up. Taking tree refuge is very important. Now we taking refuge in front of the Buddha, but the statue, not the real Buddha. Does it make sense? That's why it's symbolic, even in symbolic, but it's important. Without that symbolic, simple, without that symbolic, we cannot be able to have the good faith. Yeah. Okay, let's stop right here. Hmm. You have any question?
No, nothing for today.
Okay, go ahead.
May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light break the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise.
Yeah, wonderful. All right. Thank you. I'll see you next week.
All right, see you next week, Ty.
Mhm.